Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure on behalf of Genai to welcome you all here to the Auckland session. I'd start off by just letting you know about a conversation that we had earlier this week in Wellington. Our opening speaker was someone much better than me, Minister Amy Adams, and she came to talk about the government's view of ICT. And I can summarise her speech. What she said was ICT is incredibly important and the government is hugely committed to it, and she offered the UFB project as an example of the government's commitment. But what she also said is she felt that New Zealand, we were behind. We weren't adopting these technologies as quickly as we should be, and that we needed to be much more aggressive in our uptake. Why? Because ICT is a very important part of creating a wealthy and a prosperous society. So if I think of my own experience, I've worked overseas on many occasions, and sometimes that's a privileged position because you, as a New Zealander, you get to see your own country from the outside, and then you come back in. And so my thoughts on it are these, that the great thing about living in New Zealand is we're a long way from the rest of the world. And the worst thing about living in New Zealand is we're a long way from the rest of the world. And the industry that we in this room are all in and part of, we can help fix that. We can bring New Zealand closer to the world and the world closer to New Zealand, which has great social and economic benefits. So we should feel very proud about what it is we're trying to do in terms of the industry good. Anyhow, to what's happening today. Well, today I would imagine that, like us, many of you are facing a time of unprecedented and rapid change. And this presents business and government alike with a real challenge. On one hand, we've got to provide more information anytime, anywhere, whenever anyone sort of first thought they wanted it. And on the other hand, we're being asked to do that in an envelope of increasing cost pressure. So, I don't think too many of you, no matter how wonderful you may or may not think our people are, we could probably meet for 10 years, you're probably not going to say to us, you know what, Genai, you guys have done such a great job, I'd like to pay you 10 or 20% more next year because we love you. You're probably going to say, I'd like more for the same, or I want the same for a bit less, or more than likely you're going to say, I want a whole lot more for a whole lot less. And that is just a reflection of where we're at, and that's the environment we have to deal with. So to capture the value from the opportunities, organisations, you and us, are having to adapt, and we're having to do so at great speed. And our challenge at Genai is to work with you to enable us. You know, I've worked for a number of organisations, and I want to tell you why I joined Genai, because I had this, I took some time out for personal reasons, so a family member was very unwell. That situation resolved itself, and Jane and I sat down and said, well, what are we going to do? And we first thought we might go overseas again, and then we thought, nah, our kids are here, we'd like to just stay here in New Zealand. So then you think, well, what to do? ICT is where I've always enjoyed the industry I've enjoyed the most. Who has the most capability in ICT? And I had a long think about it. And I came, as the Vodafone guy, I came to a very reluctant conclusion, which was Genai. And so I put my hat in the ring, and unfortunately for the Genai people, I was the name that came out of the hat. And in the whole 5.5 weeks that I've been here, I can tell you this, that the capability I thought was in this business truly is here. And sometimes we manage to get it to you in a seamless way as customers, and sometimes we can trip over ourselves getting it to you. And in other words, we need to respond to you more quickly from time to time, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to find ways to serve you much better. So, we're going through a process at the moment of centering our business more than ever around you, our customers, and there are certain elements to that. We're looking obviously at how we serve you. We're looking at what products and services we should be offering you. And I don't want to imply that we're going to throw everything out we have today and start again. Most of what we have today is very relevant. But there are some things, frankly, I think that we should be in that we're not, that will be more relevant to you. And there are some other things that we'll look at around the edges, and I'm not sure that we're adding as much value as we could. So my objective is to take the large sums of money that our shareholders provide us and deploy that towards you in the manner that makes the most difference for you. So that's a capability statement. The other part I've touched on It's about speed. And we are going through a monster simplification of our business, is the best way I can put it. That's what we're doing. And this isn't just a statement. A lot of these things are happening right now. They have happened, some of them, and a lot more are happening. Just common sense things that you would expect. And oh yeah, and one other thing, we are going to reduce the cost in our business. And why we're going to do that? Not because I got out of bed one day and had a really, thought, oh, today's the day to be mean and nasty. But for what I talked to you earlier about, you're going to keep putting pressure on us to drive down our costs because you will want more value, more capability at less. And we need to have the cost structure that supports you in being able to do that. So we can do that today, no problem. But in the future, to be able to meet your needs, we need to make sure, just like you are in your organisations, that we have an eye to our own cost base, and that's what we're doing. So that's about that side of it. On the other side, we're investing large sums of money in infrastructure and IT. We see our core business is around managed infrastructure, whether you want networks, IT, or a combination of both. That is what we do at our core, and we're making huge investments to enable that to happen. So if you look at our annual report, you'll see that some years we spend up to $1 billion on putting capabilities. Typically, at the moment, it's in the $400 to $500 million a year range. I'd venture to say we're investing more than anyone else. We don't do it for us, we do it for you. So what are some of the things we're investing in at the moment? Number one, our core platforms, end to end, both for fixed and mobile. So you will have read, hopefully, that we're investing very large sums of money in an optical transport network. Why? Because that's the technology that allows us to move, whether it be fixed or mobile, the most data, the fastest, the cheapest, so we can serve you better. And that will be completed quite soon, so that's underway. Number two, the whole area of 4G. Well, you've got to have the backbone, the right sort of backbone to get the right 4G experience, but you also need the RAN. And again, hopefully you will know that we've had customer trials running for over 4 weeks, both in Auckland and in Wellington, and we will launch our commercial service later this year. You'll hear more about that at that time. Data centres, an area we've been very successful, but we see a huge demand for that. Our board has approved a very substantial investment, not allowed to say how big it is, but it's a very big number, to put new data centres in Christchurch, that's nearly completed, or has been just completed. Auckland, in addition to the data centres we have here, I've just authorised the purchase of some land a few weeks ago in South Auckland, and we have about very close to the go button on building a very large additional data centre capability there, and then obviously also in Wellington, so big investment. Another area where we're going to make major investment over and above data centre is the area of cloud. Why? Because a lot of our customers are saying to us that's an area they want to explore. They're either going to do a little bit of it at some point or a lot of it, but that's something we need to be ahead of you so we're ready for you when you want to go, if you want to go on that journey. So hopefully what you'll be hearing is that it's our plan that the needs of you, our customers, are going to be the front and centre of what we do. That's the number one priority I have, for us to have a successful business. We cannot have a successful business as Gen-I or any company by focusing on ourselves. We can only be successful if we focus and serve your needs, our clients. That's the only way we can have a successful business. And so to me, it's pretty simple. That's what we do. If we can do a great job for you, we will continue to have a successful business. And if we don't, well, it'll be the opposite. So it's pretty clear, we focus on you guys.